Yo guys, I'm Niek from the Produce School and welcome back to a brand new video. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make groovy tech house drum loops. I will show you some tips and tricks and just demonstrate my workflow, and I'm sure it will help you guys a lot to create better drums. We just released a new tech house and minimal house sample pack called Devotion. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description. It contains all the essentials that you need for your next tech house or minimal house track, and it's inspired by names like Michael Bibi, Balsa, Christosi and many more. Let's now head into FL Studio and start with the video. So I already loaded in a simple kick and that sounds like this. Whenever I start making a drum loop, I always want some kind of guideline that plays the rhythm of the kick. So that can either be the kick or you can just use a metronome. But in this case, a real kick for me just sets the vibe and just makes it easier for me to make a groove around it. As you can see, I'm using Midi, and it is a few reasons that I'm doing that today for these kind of drum loops. First of all, it allows you to get creative with the rhythm pretty easily. You're also able to select different grids and just get creative with that. Next, you can change the velocity for every hit as well as the panning, and you can do that really easily, so that's a huge plus as well. And you can change the pitch really easy, which sometimes is nice if you want to add some creativity to your drum loops. I will now just demonstrate how I approach creating a tech house drum loop. And then I think it will get pretty clear why I prefer Midi for these kind of loops. First of all, let's search for a clap. So right now the grid is set to cell, but for claps I like to set it to 1/6 beat, and that allows you to get pretty creative. So now let's create a little groove with this clap. You can hear this rhythm is already pretty groovy. You can also see that I changed the velocity for some of these notes to make them less prominent, and I just add them for the groove, and it should not be as prominent as the main part of the clap, if you know what I mean. Next, we can use some panning on, for example, this fast part right here, something like this. In the sample menu, you can also adjust the sound a bit to your own taste, for example with this quick fade out, and then you can make your claps or whatever drum sound you're using really tight. That's really nice. Let's search for another clap that we can layer it with. One is nice. Copy this. And what you can do is making the rhythm of these claps a little bit different. So that sounds pretty nice for the claps already. Let's move on with adding an open head. Most of the time with the open head, I just make standard open head rhythm like this. Turn off loop points. And this is really simple, but after this I want to add groove with adding some closed heads. It just will contribute to the groove of the overall loop. Same principle if you want to make this more tight. Sounds really nice. Let's move on with a closed head. Now just make a cool rhythm with it. So sometimes a change in pitch can sound pretty nice. In this case, I think it works. I'll try to add another one. And right now we basically already have a pretty solid groove. When making this kind of top loops, just have to keep in mind that the groove is the most important part, and the loop on itself should already sound danceable. So tech house is dance music, it's made for the dance floor, and just the loop should already have a certain groove that gets people moving a bit, like that makes you want to move, if you get what I mean. So when you keep that in mind when making these kind of loops, it can really help. I added all the elements of the loop except the kick to a mixer track, and then I routed it all to a bus because I want to show you a trick that is used a lot in this style. If you want really tight loops, you can use this, and most of the time it sounds pretty nice. So what you do on the bus channel, you open up a Transient Processor and you just lower down the release. That's everything you need to do to make it like really tight. You can turn down the release like 100% and it will sound like this. You can do it a bit more subtle. So if I turn off the Transient Processor, it sounds like this. And when I turn it on, it's a really nice way to make your top loops really tight. So sometimes if you want to achieve that sound, it's really easy and it can sound pretty good. Next up is the percussion of your loop. Of course, you need to add percussion. Percussion, in my opinion, really gives that final extra touch to your drum loop that you sometimes miss. And you shouldn't underestimate percussion, especially in these styles where the groove is so important. It can help a lot to add little ear candy like percussion. So I will now just take some percussion and try to blend it into this loop. So I always like to use multiple percussion, and you really want to make them sound good together and maybe even interact with each other with different rhythms. Okay, last but not least, I want to show you that you can use automations to make your loops more creative, and it can also contribute to the groove. So for example, on a clap, you can easily add some delay automation or some reverb automation that can sound really nice. So I linked the claps to a mixer track, and I will now try to add like a delay. Something that can really work well is a really short delay, like 0.18, with some filtering, and then you automate the wet level, and let's just play around with that a bit. And you can also use, for example, a reverb automation with a lot of decay, big size, and also automate the wet level. And you can get really creative with that, but I just want to mention that and just demonstrate it in a really simple way. That's already it for this video. I hope you guys learned a lot about tech house drums and grooves. All the sounds that I use in this video are from our new pack Devotion, which is a minimal house and tech house pack. You can find the link in the description, where you will find all the information you need, as well as previews and much more. If you have any questions about this video or about the pack, make sure to leave them in the comments and we will try to get back to you. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you never want to miss out on our new videos. And for now, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I see you guys in the next video.